Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Center in Malmo. I was asked to speak a little bit today on the welcoming ceremony of Lord Jagannatha. I have seen there have been very elaborate ceremonies going on for 3 days now. And it seems like the deities are going to stay here. So, as we all know, there is 4 yugas. There is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And in these different yugas, there is different processes for worshipping Krishna. So in Satya Yuga, the main process was meditation. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that people in Satya Yuga, they lived for 100,000 years. So they lived very long without modern medicine. They didn't need it. And the main process of worship was meditation. So one would sit and one would establish, meditate in the form of Krishna and Paramatma, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu within the heart, and then gradually one would become fully aware of Lord Vishnu, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the next yuga, in Treta Yuga, the process was great sacrifices, great fire yagas, homas. So in generally kings and big temples, they would organize huge offerings, and everybody in the surroundings, they would come, they would invite Lord Vishnu, who would appear in the form of Agni or fire. He would accept all these sacrifices, and people, by offering the results of their work to the Lord, they became purified. So this was the process in Treta Yuga. In Dvapara Yuga, the main process of deity worship, worship was deity worship. So temples were established because in previous ages, a lot of this, like meditation, was generally practiced in the forest or in the mountains, in India, in the Himalayas. But when the world became a little bit more populated and cities developed, then this process of deity worship became very prominent because there was many people in the city. It was very practical for them to come and worship the deity. One thing which I would like to mention is that sometimes in India, people call the deities idols. But actually, this word idols was introduced by the Christians, because in English, idol means like a statue or something which is lifeless. And the British, in order to push down the Hinduism, they say they were not worshipping deities, which are actually non different from the Supreme Lord, but they are worshipping idols, you know. Like the American Indians, they have this tree with wings. And here in Scandinavia, they also have these different worship of idols. It's just forms. But deity worship, which started in Dvapara Yuga, Ravi. It's a much deeper process because actually the form of the deity is not different from the form of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. And the reason why in the Vedas this process of deity worship was introduced, it's because like in earlier ages, it was easier for people to understand. Like in the Satya Yuga, everybody understands that Krishna, Krishna may be in Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka, but he's also in my heart. When this understanding with the passing of times disappeared, then people had more difficulty focusing on a form of Krishna. So therefore, these forms, which we call murtis, and which we see in the altars in the temples, they are actually these are spiritual forms. And there is many stories in which the deity manifested in very, very special ways. There is one very famous story, which I think it's from Orissa area, or Bihar, Sakshigopal? Orissa, Sakshigopal. So there was an old Brahmana, and he had a student, an assistant, a brahmachari disciple, and this disciple helped him in many ways. And they went on a long pilgrimage. And because this Brahman was quite old, he was depending on the help of his brahmachari student, of his disciple. So they reached this temple of Sakshi Gopal, and the Brahmana was so thankful, so that he told his disciple, you have done so much service to assist me, so I promised you my daughter in marriage. So this happened, and they continued the pilgrimage. They came back to their village or small city, and you know Indian society better than me. So anyway, when the Brahmana came back, his wife said, yeah, but they are not really, on the same level as us, he's very poor, and his family is so and so. I mean, you cannot promise the daughter, our daughter cannot marry him. So this old Brahman, he was really, my God, I have promised, now what shall I do? So anyway, he told his disciple the dilemma, that he has promised, and now his family, they are all against him. And he doesn't know what to do. So this young brahmachari, he goes back to this Sakshi Gopal deity, and he tells the situation, this will be horrible because this Brahmana has promised me, and now if he backs with his word, it will be terrible for him. It will be a great sin for him. So please help us to solve the situation. And the deity said, how can I solve you the situation? And the Brahman, he was also a Brahman. The brahmachari told the deity, you can come with me, to the village, and you can witness that actually this promise was done in front of you. And the deity said, but deities cannot walk. And the brahmachari said, but they also cannot talk. So if you can talk, you can also walk and come with me to the village. So in this way, this is a very beautiful story of Sakshi Gopal. He went with his brahmachari all the way to the village, and he witnessed that actually the Brahmana had made his promise. And then the Brahmana's family, they gave up their animosity and they accepted this promise which the old Brahmana had made to his student to marry the daughter. So there is many, many wonderful stories with the deities. Lord Jagannatha is a little bit, I would say, a special deity. And some people, because, I mean, like Kurma, I have a Kurma deity at home. So Kurma looks like a turtle. And Krishna has a human form. Vishnu has a four-armed form. Anyway, but Jagannath has a little bit different form. And this has a long story. But I mean, the first thing we should understand is that Krishna appears in the way he likes. You know, like sometimes when I give lectures in the schools, they ask me, why is Krishna blue? And I said, I mean, why are you white? I mean, Krishna is blue because he wants. This is his form. And so this form of Lord Jagannath, I mean, it's Krishna appeared in the way he wanted. And there is a long story leading why Lord Jagannath has this form. Actually, this story starts already in Satya Yuga, and some of the Puranas, I think Skanda Purana mainly, they tell this story. And there was a king who is called Indrajumna, and he was living in the city of Avanti, which I think it's near Ujjain now, in this area, Madhya Pradesh. And this king, he wanted to see Krishna face to face. I don't know if there was no deities in those days. I cannot say, and the story doesn't tell, but he wanted to see Krishna face to face. So one day there was some pilgrims staying in the palace, because normally the kings, they would receive saintly persons and they would accommodate them, and they would get benedictions from them and offer them support. So anyway, some pilgrims were staying with the king, and the story is a little bit different in different Puranas, but the one I was reading is that these pilgrims, they were talking at night, and they said that we were in a place and we saw a deity called Nila Madhava. Nila means blue, Madhava, sweet Lord. So we saw this wonderful deity of Nila Madhava. It was, and they were talking like that. And one of the servants of the king, or a Brahmana in the palace, he went and told the king, you know, they have seen actually a form of God, Nila Madhava. And the king was immediately excited. And then he thought, next morning, you know, I'm going to ask these pilgrims where they saw this wonderful form of Nila Madhava. So the king got up, but when he got up, all the pilgrims were gone. They were moving on in pilgrimage to the next place, so he couldn't ask them. So he decided to get a certain group of his nearest Brahmanas and soldiers, and try to find where is this Nila Madhava. So he sent different groups. He sent one to the east, you know, in the direction of the Bay of Bengal, another one to the west, south, and north. So he sent in all directions. He sent different groups, and the mission of all these groups was to find Nila Madhava. Nobody was successful. Nobody could find anything. One of the king's main priests, whose name was Vidyapati, he came to a village, which I understood is it's Nilachala. It's near Jagannath Puri, and in that village, it was a village of Sabaras. Actually, I don't know how much you know about Sabaras, but they are still exist today. So these Sabaras, they were very simple people living in the village, and So this Vidyapati asked if he could stay in that village overnight, and the people in the village told him yes, but our chief, the chief of the village, Vishvasu, he's very charitable, so please go to his house, and he will offer you hospitality. Otherwise, it's not polite. If you come into the village, and stay in the house of somebody else, you should go to the house of the chief. So this party went to Vishvasu's house. He was not at home, so his daughter received him nicely, and he was outside waiting for Vishvasu to come. So when he came, it was such a fragrance around him. It was such a transcendental smell around him. So this Vidyapati became, oh, this is something is going on here. This is a village of, so-called Sabaras, but we have here the chief. He's very kind, and his daughter is very kind, and he comes home. Nobody knows where he has been. Then gradually, this Vishvasu invited Vidyapati to stay there for a few days, and he stayed. And every day it was the same thing. He would leave. In some Puranas it says he would leave at night, come home in the morning. Another one says he would leave in the morning and come home in the evening. But anyway, he left. And every time he came, it was this transcendental smell, which Vidyapati learned later. It was from the offerings of flowers, which Vishvasu would offer to his deity. So anyway, the situation developed in such a way that this Vidyapati, he somehow got the intuition, maybe, I should stay here. Maybe there is something around this Vishvasu which may lead me to Nilamadava. So he stayed there, and actually, eventually, he married Vishvasu's daughter, whose name was Lalita. And then after he married, because he had not forgotten the mission which he got from the king, from Indradyumna, he didn't forget the mission. So he started to pressure the daughter of Vishvasa. Where is your father going? And she said, no, we are not allowed to tell anybody. Yeah, but I'm your husband, you must tell me, you cannot have secrets. You know how husbands are, isn't it? You cannot have any secrets. So gradually, Lalita gave in, and she said, okay, I will ask my father to bring you there, and you have to promise that you never tell about the what you have seen. So she asked her father, and her father said, yes, he can follow with me one day, but his head must be covered, his eyes must be covered, so he cannot see where we're going, so that he will remember the way. So they blindfolded him, and they put him, I think they drove on an ox cart or something like that. And they devised a trick to find the way. And the trick was that he took with him mustard seeds. And when he was going there or driving on this cart, he was dripping these seeds on the path. And his expectation was that when it becomes, when it starts rain, they will sprout, and he will know all the way. It will be mustard seeds all the way. So anyway, so they came there, and he took away the blindfold from Vidyapati, and then Vidyapati could see this deity of Nilamadava, which in the scriptures it said this deity was made of sapphire, the whole form of the deity. I don't know much about jewels, but I think the sapphires are blue. isn't it? Blue and green. So this deity of Nila Madhava was made of sapphire, extremely beautiful. And when they came, this Vidyapati stayed in the temple, and Vishvasu went to the forest. He collected flowers, he collected fruits, he came back, he made the offering, he made sandalwood paste. He did a full worship for the deity. And then he blindfolded him and he came back again. So it seems like now Vidyapati had accomplished the mission of finding Nila Madhava. But you'll see. Nila Madhava was actually not so happy with this, because the devotion of this Vishwas was so great. Every day he was worshipping this deity of Nila Madhava the whole day, just offering different things and taking care of the deity and offering abhisheka, offering fruits, flowers, sandalwood paste, cleaning the temple. So actually Nila Madhava was not so happy with development of the events. So in order to make this story a little shorter, so Vidyapati went back to King Indrajumna, and they came back to the village. But what happened? I mean, there is two different versions. One version is that when they came back, this temple was completely covered with sand. Another one is that the deity was just gone. So they imprisoned this Vishvasu, and they told him, "You must tell us where is the deity." They thought he was hiding the deity somewhere, but he wasn't. Actually, the deity left in a way nobody understands. So this Maharaj Indrajumni became very upset, because he was really focused on this idea of seeing Nila Madhava and seeing actually the eternal transcendental form of Krishna. So he was very, very disappointed. But then, which is also a little bit different from different Puranas, but Narada Muni appeared and he said, you should not be disappointed, because what is happening actually is that there was this deity of Nila Madhava who was worshipped privately by Vishvasu, but now it's going to come the form of a deity which will offer blessings to the whole world, to the whole universe. So instead of being a deity worshipping in the middle of the forest, it will be a deity who can offer the blessings to the whole universe, which actually what the word Jagannatha means, the Lord of the universe. So, so there is some stories. He went to Lord Brahma and this and back. So at one point, they decided, together with King Indrajumna, that they're going to carve a deity and make a beautiful temple, which is the temple of Lord Jagannath today. And the deities will be formed and installed and so on. So this king, Maharaj Indrajumna, he made like an announcement that all the best deitiwalas, maybe they are not called deitiwalas, who made deities in wood, they are also walas. Murtiwala, no? I think Murtiwalas is only for brass, no? Shivkar, yeah. So carvers of deities, because the deities, many deities in ancient India, they were made, especially in this part of India, they were made of neem wood. So the king got a vision that there will be some piece of wood coming in the ocean, and he should give it to the best of these, how is it again, Shilpi? Shilpkar. Mm-hmm. So he should find the best Shilpkar and he would carve a deity. So they finally found one who was very expert in making, in carving deities, and they tried to get this wood from the ocean, but they could not do it, even with many people and all the soldiers and so on. So they have to get Vishvasu, this Sabara who was worshipping Nilavadava, and he did it very easily. He just pushed, and they managed to take out this piece of wood. And then he was given a place, and he told the king that I'm going to carve these deities. It will take so and so many days, I think 21 days. But there is one condition: I cannot be disturbed, you know. Nobody can open the door or, you know, come here and disturb me. I must be completely undisturbed, you know. This is my meditation, you know. The deity must be perfect. I don't want any disturbances. So the king said, yes, okay, whatever you want. So he started to carve the deity of Lord Jagannath and Subhadra and Balaram and Sudarshan. So there's actually 4. And the king was every day he would go outside and listen, you know, if chip, 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 is something going on, is something happening. And, you know, first week or 2, things were going on. One day started all of a sudden very quiet, no wood, no sound of wood chipping. And the king said, well, what's going on? Maybe he's tired, maybe he's resting. And then second day, no action, nothing happening. And then third day, and the king started to become worried, you know, maybe he died. Maybe this Brahmana died, you know, I must do something. Or maybe he's just fallen, very sick, you know, we cannot let him. So they broke the door. They broke the door where he was working on carving the deities. And of course the Shilpikar, he said, I mean, you broke your promise, so now I'm not doing anything more with these deities. So this was the form which Lord Jagannath, Subhadra and Baladev have, and Sudarshan. So this was the way, how far they had come in the carving. And as I said in the beginning, this is not an accident, because Krishna appears in the way he wants. So this is the way Lord Jagannath wanted to appear. And this is a little bit short story. There is many intricacies. Coming back to deity worship, I mean, deity worship, it's actually, if one understands that Krishna is present in the deity, it actually becomes a very, very serious business. And one should observe the rules of deity worship. You know, like one of the main rules in deity worship is cleanliness. One always has to be clean when one is worshipping the deities. One must take shower, one must have clean clothes, one cannot have been going to the toilet. This is a very, very important rule in deity worship. Another important rule in deity worship is punctuality. You know, you cannot wake up the deities 4 o'clock one day and 5:30 the next day and 4:30 the next day. One has to establish a standard of deity worship. In ISKCON we have quite elaborate standards of deity worship in terms of offering food and in terms of worshipping Krishna and decorating the forms of the deities with beautiful clothes, necklaces. If you go, especially, of course, also here in Sweden, if you go like to New Radakunda, Korsnäsgård. Some of you have been there, I'm sure. No? Never went to Stockholm. If you've not been in Stockholm, you have not seen Sweden. No, but there is a very beautiful temple in south of Stockholm. It's called New Radakund, and there is the forms of Gandharvika Giridhari, very, very, very nicely worshipped. But like if maybe you have been to our temples in India, Mumbai, and Vrindavana, Mayapur, very, very opulent deity worship, very nicely done. So this is the kind of the obligation we take when we install deities. It's to follow up and be always there for worshipping the deity. So it's a kind of a responsibility. And this process of deity worship, it's very purifying, because one of the things one does when one is worshipping the deities, one is bathing the form of the Lord. One is offering flowers, one is offering incense, water, chamara. One is offering these different ingredients of puja. Actually, the meaning of puja, actually not many people I have noticed know. The meaning of the puja and why we offer these items is that we have been giving the ingredients, this bhumira po nalo vayu kamano buddhirevacha. We have been given these ingredients from the Lord, earth, water, fire, air, ether. We have been offered these things. And in puja, we offer these items back to Krishna. So like the incense and the flower, they have smell, they symbolize the earth. Then we offer water, the chamara symbolizes the air, etc. like this. Fire, we offer ghee lamps, camphor or ghee. So we offer the elements back to Krishna. So this is what puja or artik consists of. So this is more or less what I wanted to say, because the time is limited. I think there is other things going on. We are going to have a ceremony. I don't know if you have other things on your program. You have? Because we wanted to do Puspanjali. That's okay, yeah? But you will do something before.
Yeah, we do Aarti.
Okay.
Before that.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, then we do Aarti, and then afterwards we can do.
Any question or comment?
I think it's a very good story.
Welcome.
It's
Hare Krishna.